shooting the ceremony, my approach is make sure someone's lobbed up. I lobbed up the groom. This is Brenden Bytheway, everybody, that audio guy. Brenda's putting together a course called the Filmmaker's Guide to Audio. The thing with filmmaking is people neglect audio. It's half of your viewing experience. A lot of people neglect the audio, and so I've been helping Brenda put together this course so that you guys can improve your audio, both capturing, recording, sound designing, editing, mastering, everything in post. Audio's huge, don't neglect it. To learn more, check it out. Ho, ho.
So we're gonna mic up our groom real quick. Great place to hide the mic is right under his tie right here, inside of the shirt, and we're gonna pop that in there, run the cord down inside, pop this guy on the back belt loop, okay? You can't even see it, right? We're gonna like hide that right in there and kind of wrap the tie around it, okay?
Question people a lot of times will ask is, how do I keep it from getting static on the shirt?
You can get a piece of cloth, you can get yarn from Walmart, you can get this stuff. This is the Rye Coat wind covers. So what's nice about these is they include this guy, and it's like a little sticky. So this is actually double-sided. So whether you have a clip or not, what we could do is stick this on his chest, or I think it's easier to just leave the clip because it'll be more sturdy, and if he gets sweaty, which he will because he's going to party hard tonight, it may slip off. So we've got it clipped. What we're going to do is we can stick this guy right here on the back, or you can stick it here on this tie on the front. I'm gonna opt for sticking this against his tie, right? So then the mic will nuzzle up right into that. And you may get a little bit of scruffing, but it won't be nearly as bad as if it were just raw, all right? So if we do get a little bit of scratching, I'll show you how to clean that up in post. But for now, that's where we're at. And then we've got this lav pack running out of here. So what I like to do is I like to take right here, make sure the talent has enough slack, so you know he's comfortable, and then I'll just give it like a loop or two right here, like this, and we'll tuck this underneath in this clip here. Okay, this is it, guys. This is the ticket right here. That's the money maker, and then boom! Look at this handsome fella. Darn it!
Do you want to put this on the very side so it's not looking like you have a big butt?
Yeah.
And we actually had set up, the sound engineer went to his booth and got plugged in so that we could get the actual audio from the microphone.
So when you first want to tap into someone's system, first question I would ask is, can I run out of your headphone mix? And if he says no, ask if he has a splitter. And then if he still says no, see if there's an auxiliary send, and then ask him to set you up a mix of the microphone that they're running over at the ceremony. All right, so we've got our recorder right here, our Zoom recorder. We're running our headphone out through the mixer that's hooked up to the PA system, so when the pastor or bishop is talking, you know, through the mic, or when the couple say their vows, we get all of that audio in the quality that it's entering the microphone, right? So this is way better than what we'd pick up like through the PA system and the lav mic.
So all they need for this setup is the H6 and a quarter inch cable.
Yep. So we want to aim for levels between, you know, -18 and like peaking at -6. So our peaks are like, here's my average level, here's my average level, peak, 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 that's a peak. So what you want to do is make sure that you test the level so it's not clipping, which is when it like goes above 0, turns red, it distorts, and it's all crumbly and nasty. So on this mixer, in this case, I've cranked the headphones all the way up, and I've put my zoom at about 6.5, 7, and that looks like pretty healthy volumes on here. So the advantage of tapping into here is the fact that this is a more fair representation of a vocal than like a lav mic. So a lav mic, for example, you know, you're not going to mic up the groom. You just saw us mic up the groom. It's under his tie, so it's going to be a little bit more muffled. It may be a little bit like this. Whereas this is designed to be a speaking, singing microphone, and it's a lot clearer, and you know, it's really directional. It's just going to pick up right here. You don't have to worry about scratching, moving, the antennas cutting out, or the whatever. So this is the ideal option, right? In a less than ideal option where you can't tap into the mixer, that's why we have the groom mic'd up. We've got the bishop, pastor figure mic'd up, and we have the bride mic'd up. Because we're playing backup here, we're playing like worst case scenario in case of emergency type thing.
They just messed up.
Everyone wake up! The audio went haywire and actually didn't even work for the audience to hear it. So that's gonna happen on shoots, and you just gotta figure out how to work around it. So luckily we had the lav as a backup on the groom to capture some of that audio. Also, I was pretty close to both the bride and the groom with my Rode mic, so that's a possibility to use for sound as well as far as the vows. The vows is the most important part you want to make sure you capture. Also, if you can, capturing the bishop or priest or whoever. As far as filming goes, I try and hit as many different angles as I can. I had Lucas on a parallaxing long shot to just get the bride and groom the whole time. But I also had Nick and I were switching sides to make sure we're getting both the bride and the groom as they're talking to each other and doing their vows. So luckily we had a lot of camera guys. When we don't have this many, I'll just set up on a tripod, a long lens, so that I'm getting, and that's the one I usually have the lav on, shooting this way so we can get both the bride and the groom the whole time. And then I'm running around getting as many angles as I can, both wide and tight. I have some wider shots showing the whole venue. I have some wider shots coming down the aisle, have some tight shots of both the bride and groom, back and forth, interactions, kissing, and then as they walk out, I'm just following them, tracking them out, getting them walking out of the venue. So that's the basics of it, is just getting as many wides and tights as I can, switching back and forth, as much coverage from as many different angles. And as the bride and groom are giving their vows, I'm making sure I'm on the side where the person who's talking, I can see them, and I have the shoulder of the other person right here. And then as soon as we switch the other vows, come on this side, have the shoulder right here and facing the person giving the vow. So
keep in mind that while this is...
I think about the... Taking a wrist break. That was like 25 minutes straight of glide camming. That's kind of the basic of it. I'm right up in the action. I don't want to be too intrusive. The main thing is not to be in front of the bride and groom. And so anytime I'm crossing in front, I'm trying to go below because you have a bunch of spectators and you don't want to get in the way. But they do understand that you are there to capture the moment. Bride and groom want you to capture it well, so don't be timid, don't be afraid to get good angles and get tied up in the action. I was at 70 millimeter, so a tighter focal length for a lot of those tight shots, so you don't have to get too close, too intrusive. I was still probably 4 or 5 feet away, but I'm tied up on the face, so that's a way to kind of cheat to make it look like you're closer, is by using a tighter lens. We got here Lucas Kris from Slovakia.
Hi guys.
He flew out from Slovakia just for this shoot. Just kidding, he didn't. He was in town though and he wanted to come help on a shoot. So he's a full-time filmmaker. I put him, he has a 1DX Mark II as well. And so I got him on the Rhino slider, and he's gonna be getting the ceremony from a long lens. He's on a 70-200 and we're at about 150 millimeter. And so he's just gonna be getting a slow panning back and forth parallax shot. They had a photographer in the aisle the whole time snapping shots. And so most of his shots had a photographer in it, and you just gotta kind of work around them the best you can. As far as where I'm positioning myself, I'm just always making sure I'm not in their way and then making sure they're not in my shot. And some photographers are better than others, some are more intrusive than others. You just gotta work around it, document it the best you can. Sometimes you're gonna have them in your shot, get them out of your frame as best you can, but sometimes you can't, and you just gotta work with what you got. Grabbing some B-roll shots. 400 ISO, 2.8 aperture, shutter speed, 200th Got my polarizer on here, cut out reflections for me. So I'm constantly switching back between 70mm and 24mm. Give a quick 10 to 12 dials of the knob here, and then we're back in business. So I just constantly am going back and forth between different focal lengths, getting both wide and tight shots. So Jake asked, what do I do when I have a huge line of people like you see right now? How do you capture them? So I'll do two things. I'll go into 24mm like this, and then I'll just get a wide shot of everyone. They're gonna be super small in the middle of your frame, but it's nice to get one option with everyone in it. And then I'll zoom back into 70 and then just pick off pockets of people and get close up to the face. They cut better together, and I can mix up my footage and make it look like I had multiple cameras on set all day, even though I do have multiple cameras on set. This one's just of your hands. Try and show off your ring on the back here. There you go. It's kind of an awkward handhold, but just have it flashing my way a little. Okay, so minimal hand swinging, walk kind of slow. Go ahead, guys. We're good, keep going. Go grab the red. So I had Nick run and grab my red for me, and Jake asked why I chose to grab the red for this specific shot. I saw this beautiful sun flare coming through the trees, and I wouldn't be able to get it with any of my current focal lengths on my lens, so I needed a wider angle lens to be able to reach that high to get that sun flare. I have the red already set up on a 12mm, so it's super wide, and that way I can just get one nice walking shot with a beautiful sun flare. Smiling at each other, laughing. Okay, good. That's it for shooting a ceremony wedding, and yeah.
All right, now real quick, couple notes I wanted to make now that I brought the footage into post and I've edited together the video. First off, even though I had 3 or 4 guys with cameras on set with me, I only ended up using maybe 2 or 3 shots from other people's cameras besides my own. So don't feel like just because you're a one-man crew that you can't do what I just did. I mostly just had them there for shooting behind the scenes or as a backup in case my camera bonked out or I completely missed a moment, which I didn't, so I was able to use mostly my footage. Now, second point I want to make here is the audio. Now take a look at the audio files we have here. First, I have the audio that I took with my Rode mic. This is the in-camera audio, and then this was the groom's lav mic, and then right here we have the pastor's lav mic, and then this right here was the Zoom H6 that was set on the ground next to the speaker so you could hear what the PA system was hearing. So we had 4 different audio sources playing during that ceremony. Ideally, we would have laved up the bride as well. However, they were running late and she didn't get there until the wedding ceremony started, and so we weren't able to lav her up in time. So I brought all these layers of audio in, synced them up in Premiere Pro, and then I'm turning off different layers on and off. As the groom's talking, I turn on his lav mic. As the pastor's talking, I turn on his lav mic. As the bride's talking, we actually ended up using the Zoom that was on the ground, getting the PA system when she was talking, and I ended up using the Rode mic for some of just the ambient noise of, you know, birds chirping and trees in the wind and crowds cheering and whatnot. So it's good to capture as much audio as you can from as many different sources, and that way you have the freedom to pick and choose which audio sounds the best. Now, I sent all this audio to Brendo, who sound designs a lot for me, and just told him, hey, clean this up for me. Some of these lav mics have a little bit of scratching going on. The bride's audio with the PA system was super low and needed to be cleaned up a ton. So he did all the post-processing for me for the audio. I use Brendo for all my sound designing and sound mixing when I have the budget for it. I send it to him and just have him clean it up because he's a lot better at audio than I am. And you guys can use him as well. I'll give you his email in the description below. You can email him to do sound designing, to make custom soundtracks, to clean up your audio if you don't know how to do it, or go check out his Filmmaker's Guide to Audio to learn how to do it yourself. I've taken it. It's an awesome course, but there's times when I just can't do it as well as he can, and so I just let the professionals handle it. Color correction wise, kept it pretty simple. Here's just a before and after of the color correction, so you can kind of see what we've done here. Just played with color temperature, RGB curve, added some saturation, some vibrance. These Canon cameras shoot great colors out of camera, so I'm not doing a whole lot in post as far as the color goes. So you have it, that is how I shoot a wedding ceremony. To check out the full video, it is on my YouTube channel. And to see the full version of this virtual job shadow, you can check that out at fulltimefilmmaker.com, where I have dozens of other virtual job shadows just like this, and you can get involved and actually come on a job shadow with me if you are a member of Full Time Filmmaker. So make sure to join us at fulltimefilmmaker.com if you'd like to learn how to shoot professional videos like this and how to land paying clients and sponsorships. And speaking of sponsorships, once again, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Big thanks to them once again. They are an all-in-one website designing platform whom I have personally used and can highly recommend, especially for those of you who don't have any website designing knowledge like myself. They have all these awesome templates that can help you make your website pretty in no time. And they actually offer free trials, so visit squarespace.com to start your free trial today. And if you end up liking it, make sure to use coupon code Parker to get 10% off your first purchase. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any further questions, please let me know.